You know how so often people say on YouTube that gear doesn't matter? That, it really doesn't matter if you have an expensive camera, you don't need an expensive microphone or a lighting setup, your own studio, all this kind of stuff, right? People say this all the time. And to be honest with you, I would be a hypocrite if I said anything different than that, because gear really doesn't matter if you absolutely can't get it and you just need to get something done with your phone. You really have no excuse to do work if you have a phone, because you could figure it out that way, and I did. I actually made a feature-length film with a phone. And so you could do it. However, I do think the gear matters in that, sometimes if you have any kind of extra money at all and you're willing to invest in yourself, then gear matters. Because it just shows that you're taking this whole thing seriously, that you're, attending to your work in a way that has a little bit more integrity than a lot of people. And I'm just saying this if you can afford it. But the thing is, it's not really that expensive. And so this is what I'm going to hook you up with. I'm going to tell you about some gear that you could get that's really cheap, that you can do amazing work with. Now, really cheap is relative, you know what I mean? Like, I talked about this in a previous video, I don't know if it was the last video or the one before that, where if you can't get a camera, I would highly recommend getting on eBay and buying like an LG V60 phone. Because an LG V60 has all of the manual controls of a camera. So you can do your ISO settings, you can set your white balance, you can manually focus if you want to, you could shoot 24 frames per second, you could shoot 4K 60, 4K 120, which means slow motion. You can do time lapse and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's so flexible. It's so flexible. And the codecs are really easy to deal with in your computer, which means it's easy to edit. It's not like really thick files. So you can do that. And an LG V60 will probably cost you like $175, $200. You can get an LG V30, an LG V40. There are so many examples of great work being done with phones. But I'm here to tell you that you can afford a camera. You can afford, I'll talk about the Panasonic GH5. The Panasonic GH5 is a legendary movie-making machine. I'm talking about professional filmmakers use that camera for years and to this day are still using it. It's a micro four thirds camera, and it's got interchangeable lens capability. It's a micro four thirds mount, and you can adapt pretty much any lens to that camera, which means you could buy all these vintage lenses for like $50, $75, $25 sometimes, $200 if you go crazy. You could adapt them to the camera, or you can get micro four thirds lenses. And like this lens I'm using right here, it looks pretty good, right? I'm using a TT Artisan 17mm f1.4. Now, that means that this is a 35mm equivalent, because a micro four thirds you have to double the focal length, because that's what it is equivalent to on a full frame camera. So you're getting a 35mm field of view. And this lens cost me $65 brand new on Amazon. Now, I don't know if that's still the price, but I guarantee you it's under $100. You could also get a Meike, M-E-I-K-E 35mm f1.4 for like the same price, which is a 70mm equivalent, which means you could do incredible portrait work with that camera. And with a 35mm, with that lens. And with a 35mm, the 17, which is a 35 equivalent, you can do anything. 35mm is the most flexible focal length that you could have. It's wide enough for wide stuff. Like, it's pretty wide right here. I'm like right up on the camera and you can see everything behind me. But it's also something that you can get close to. You can do portraits with this. 35mm. I'm not distorted. This is what I really look like. And so a Panasonic GH5, you can go to mpb.com and buy one for $500 right now. Like new. And I'm telling you, the advantage of buying a camera like this is that it is an incredible creative tool to learn on. To really learn how to use a proper camera. To really start to think about depth of field and composition and things like that. It's like something that, again, you're investing in yourself, in this work that you're committed to doing. You know, getting involved in something that kind of requires visual storytelling. Not kind of, that's what it is. YouTube, you're a filmmaker. I say it all the time. So if you can get hold of a Panasonic GH5, you know, eBay, $500, mpb.com, used. Get it, you know, you can only get it used. They don't make them new anymore. I'm telling you, great battery life. Doesn't overheat. Unlimited recording, 4K 60, open gate. Ridiculous. You could use it, which means open gate means you can use it for, you know, just regular 4K or shooting 1080, which is, you know, just conventional for, you know, social media or whatever platform you're gonna, you know, put your work on, but also for social media when you want those, you know, thinner shots, which I don't even do, you know, 9:16. Open gate allows you to have more flexibility within the frame after you shoot. And so, I highly recommend getting yourself a GH5 and, you know, you can grow with that camera. I mean, literally, you would never have to get an upgraded camera with that if you get that. You can put anamorphic lenses on that camera if you really start to progress, but you can put any lens on this camera and make it look any way that you want to. Does it have a little bit less depth of field than a full frame camera? Yeah, big deal. Once you know what you're doing, that makes absolutely no difference, you know. You just pick the proper focal length, get a fast lens, you'll be in good shape, you know. Get your sound together, that's the most important thing, you know. But you'll learn everything that you need to learn on this camera of how to use this thing that is probably the most important tool that you need for making YouTube videos. And so, invest in yourself. Get yourself some cheap lenses because you know what? These lenses look great. I just used this lens, this $65 lens, and I hope she's not watching right now. But I just used it on a professional project that somebody hired me to do, shooting like a documentary style film for somebody. And it looks amazing. It looks like a movie, you know? Like pretty much anything you shoot on the GH5 is going to look like a movie, you know, especially once you learn what you're doing. Get yourself DaVinci Resolve for your editing. Why? Because it's free and because it is the state-of-the-art video editing tool. Everybody's using that or Premiere Pro or Final Cut, but DaVinci Resolve is like kind of taking over. And then if you want the paid version, which is only $300, one payment for life, no subscription like Premiere, you know, forget about Adobe. Go with DaVinci Resolve. $300 for life, you get everything. But the free version has a lot, and there's no watermark, so you could use it for final projects. And again, you will learn so much. DaVinci Resolve is like the color grading, the color post-production software of every Hollywood film. Everybody uses DaVinci Resolve. It's incredible. And the regular video editing capabilities, the audio inside is like almost on par with Pro Tools, which is like state-of-the-art pro audio for making major records. Like I guarantee you, Billie Eilish, people like that, they're using Pro Tools. You have that type of capability in DaVinci Resolve. So between DaVinci Resolve for your post-production, if you get a GH5 and if you get these cheap lenses, get yourself a Purple Panda lavalier mic, it'll cost you like $40. Get yourself a Boya shotgun mic, it'll cost you $20, I think. Get yourself a Zoom H1N Pro Audio digital recorder, $79. Ridiculous. But then you're going to have to learn how to sync audio because you're recording your audio to a separate device from the camera. Easy as pie. Takes 12 seconds once you learn how to do it. But it sounds scary to a lot of people because they're like, I don't know how to sync audio. Then I have to look at the WAV files. I'm telling you, it's easy. Invest in yourself. But if you want to, you can plug the lavalier mic directly into the camera. The preamps in the GH5 are actually pretty good. And this Boya mic, as cheap as it is, it sounds incredible. I'm using it right now. and I'm like probably 3.5 feet away from the camera. I'm a little bit farther than I would like to be with a microphone like this, but it sounds great. And you know, if there's any kind of ambient sound, it's because this room is like all wood, wide open. It's kind of reverby, you know what I mean? And I don't have it, you know, taken care of for audio, so I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff. But it still sounds great. And in DaVinci Resolve, you can actually fix that because you can isolate your audio. So anything that's going on around it, like traffic, sirens, TVs, whatever, it will only play back your voice. Crazy, right? I hate AI, but in that case, it's helpful. Get yourself some cheap lights, you know. I have a Neewer light, cost me $50. It's a little RGB light. It's got like effects on it. You can have effects like ambulance effect, computer effect, things like that. It's got full colors. So you can go from, I believe, 2,800 Kelvin to 6,800, I think. So you can get your white balance in order. You could learn how to do that, you know, getting it together with the white balance in the camera, matching it with your lights, and then you can start playing around to get different colors. You're going to learn your exposure. Most importantly, you're going to learn how to get your composition together and make every shot look like a painting. You know, I always try to look at every shot from corner to corner, all the way around, because I want it to look like a painting, no matter what I do, no matter where I am. That's the intention. Once you start thinking like a filmmaker, and the thing is, if you have a camera, you're more apt to think that way. I mean, you could do it with a phone, but with a camera, you have a screen, you're looking, you know, it's like it handles differently, you know. It's more ergonomically correct for filmmaking. And so I would highly recommend it. So, you know, you want to do this YouTube thing, you want to get monetized, you want to earn a living, you want to be an influencer and all that kind of stuff. I would highly recommend investing in yourself and buying a camera. And you can get other cameras besides the GH5. You could buy, you know, like a Sony A6000 for probably $350 or something like that, used. A6100, maybe a little bit more expensive, but these are amazing cameras. You know, you can get all those A-series cameras, those APS-C cameras, which are also crop sensors, but a little bit bigger than a Micro Four Thirds, but quality is all the same. That's on you. The quality is not about the camera. They're all incredible. They all have incredible capabilities to put out beautiful images. You know, it's really about you learning how to do that, you know, how to shoot, how to deal with your lights. Lighting is everything, you know. Once you learn that, I'm telling you, you're good. Then it's all about your talent, your ideas, your dedication, your commitment, your being diligent, you know, showing up every day for your work. You don't have to post every day, but working every day. You know, ever since I bought a camera, I have not gone anywhere without my camera. It's with me all the time. No excuses, no negotiating. It's always with me. I don't care where I go. I always have it, just in case. And I'm always practicing. Even if I'm not shooting a project, I'm practicing all the time. I am so annoying if you're around me. I'm just shooting everything, practicing depth of field and colors and, you know, aperture and things like that. Like I'm just playing with everything all the time because I love it so much. And I'm always thinking story. How am I telling the story without a word? And then how am I complementing words with these visual, you know, images, these moving images? And also, these are great cameras for photography as well. And so I'm going to stop now because I feel like I'm just kind of going on now without giving you any other more information about it. But you can see I'm enthusiastic about it and I really believe in it. And I do think if you do have the money, if you don't have the money, save up for it. If you do have the money, invest in yourself. And then you don't have to buy anything else. And once you get your camera, keep it. Don't think about upgrading. Don't think about, you know, that this one has a better path to the future or whatever. That's just silly shit. Get a camera and keep it and master it and learn how to use it. And then you'll be able to use all of your storytelling gifts, all your skills, because the camera will become like a part of your body. You know, get your camera, get your lenses, get the focal lengths that you like to use. You know, find out if you're a 24 millimeter person or a 28 or a 35 or whatever. Like, you get to experiment. And the good thing is that get these old vintage lenses that cost nothing, 25 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever, and just experiment and see what you like. And then if you want to splurge and get yourself, like, I use 2 focal lengths basically 99% of the time, 28 millimeters and 50 millimeters. That's basically it. If I'm using my Helios, it's 58 millimeters. But basically I use 2 vintage Minolta lenses, 28 millimeter f2.8, 50 millimeter f1.4, Rokkor lens and a Telesor respectively. They're all manual. I don't use autofocus, and that's my workflow. That's what I enjoy. I don't feel like I need anything else. I use a Panasonic S5. I have a GH5 too, but it's a backup, because if I'm working for somebody who's giving me money, and if God forbid something happens to my camera, I want to know that I have a good capable camera as a backup too. But yo, Panasonic S5 brand new right now, $1,000 at B&H. Used, $750, $800 for a Panasonic S5. I shot a feature film on that phone recently, and it looks like Hollywood level film. Absolutely. Panasonic S5 and a GH5 together cost $1,300 for 2 cameras. So invest in yourself, and then stop watching videos about the latest camera and the greatest, like, oh, I need that autofocus, I need more dynamic range, I need this, I need that, I need better color science, I need a camera that, you know, will continue to give me more updates in my firmware. Like, yo, ain't nobody thinking about that. Nobody got time for that. Get the camera, master it, fall in love with it, and then use it to tell stories. And forget about all that other stuff. You know, you're going to invest in yourself once, and, you know, keep that camera until you absolutely feel like it's getting in your way and stopping you from being able to do what you got to do. Otherwise, don't even think about upgrading. I think that's the best advice that I just gave in this video. That's it. I'm going to stop right there. All right. See you in a minute.